Hello, and welcome to TEC News at 5. This just in. Tension increases in the American colonies as their war for independence continues. In other news, Alexandre Manette, a French doctor, was released from the Bastille and was found in Saint Antoine in a state of mental relapse. We had the privilege to go and see him. How long was Dr. Manette in the Bastille?
He was in prison for about 18 years.
Why was Dr. Manette in prison to begin with?
Well, I don't know. What do you think I am?
Has Dr. Manette been able to adapt to society? I mean, how is he, after being stuck in a cell for 18 years?
Well, why don't you go ahead and see for yourself?
Dr. Manette? Dr. Manette? Dr. Manette! What was it like in the Bastille? Dr. Manette?
105 North Tower.
Excuse me?
105 North Tower.
Sir, you're not making any sense. Well, as you can see, he's still recovering. In other news, poverty in France is beginning to hit an all-time low. Our reporter Florian Dedrick is there with more.
As you can see, Carl, poverty here has hit an all-time low. People are so desperate that they are on the ground lapping up wine like dogs. They are even soaking rags in it to bring wine to their loved ones. This is Biscuit, a lowly peasant. Sir, please tell me how is poverty hitting you worse?
Well, because of this poverty, I have no job, I have little food, and cannot make a name for myself and my family. It's all because of the bourgeoisie. Those filthy dogs, they are selfish and make us look like this.
How quaint. Here's the local wine dresser, Monsieur Defarge.
People here are much worse off than you think. They gather here like this often. It is actually saddening for me to see. These people, my friends, have to live like this.
I see. Also, crime rates have been rapidly rising here as well. As you can see here, Jacobs, things here are beginning to go down the drain.
Wow. Well, let's hope the situation there gets better. And now for a view of the other side of the grass, where we have the great privilege to have an interview with the Marquis Evermond of France. So, Mr. Evermond, what is your opinion on the poverty of the proletariat?
Well, honestly, it doesn't really matter. Just for the most part, they aren't really even people.
Wow.
Step on it. We don't have all day, you know.
Huh? Oh, okay.
Do you think that anything should be done to help the proletariat?
Well, of course not. I mean, to be honest, it's really their own fault. If they really wanted to change things, then why don't they just do it themselves?
I see. So anyway...
Oh, looks like we hit a boy.
Oh, see? These stupid peasants are always getting in my way. It's just... it's what they do.
Well, sir, doesn't that seem a little...
A little what?
Ah, my boy. My boy, my boy, my boy, my boy, my boy.
Hold on a second. Here, take this. Sorry about that. Ouch! Who did that? Oh, you all are worthless. You all get in the way, and you just...
Cut! Shortly after the Marquis went to sleep, he was murdered. The murderer, known only as Jacques, is still at large, and the authorities are searching for him. In other news, here in England, yet another person has been tried, this one for treason. Normally, the criminal would simply be deemed guilty after the hearing and receive the death penalty. But this case is turning out quite different. The man, Charles Darnay. The offense, treason. Darnay allegedly was giving away information about England's plan to attack the American colonies to King Louis XVI. The punishment was quartering. The trial was held at the Old Bailey. Darnay's defending attorney was Mr. Stryver. Many people came out to see the trial, though most likely just to see the usual outcome. If there was a chance that Darnay's life and limbs would be spared, then most likely the people would not have come to see this strange case. Strangely, Darnay did not seem to be overly fearful of the penalty of his crime, as one would be in accordance with the nature of this crime. Another queer fact was that there were two witnesses, Dr. Alexander Manette, who by now has been cured of his mental state and is quite healthy, and his daughter Lucia Manette. And when Darnay looked at them, his expression changed, so much so that it got the attention of everyone in the room. Everybody could clearly tell that Lucy felt some sort of pity or compassion for Darnay. The Attorney General, the prosecuting attorney, began by calling up John Barsad to the stand, whom the Attorney General highly praised. He said he was an amazing patriot and full of great virtue. Barsad claimed that he was once a friend of Darnay, and that he and Darnay's alleged servant, Roger Cly, felt that it was their duty to go through Darnay's belongings. By going through Darnay's possessions, they claimed to have discovered documents, which were not in Darnay's handwriting, that proved that Darnay had been at this business for 5 years. Roger Cly was called to the stand. He claimed to have started working for Darnay 4 years ago, and soon became suspicious of his master and watched him closely. Cly said that he had seen many lists, such as the ones used as evidence, and that Darnay would show these lists to a French gentleman. Both Barsad and Cly stated that their only motive for giving away this evidence was pure patriotism. The next witness called to the stand was Jarvis Lorry, a clerk at Tellson's Bank. Lorry was in a coach going from London to Dover. The Attorney General asked if he saw Darnay in the coach, to which Lorry stated that there were only 2 other people and he did not know either one of them. The Attorney General asked if Lorry could for sure say that Darnay was not one of the passengers, and Lorry stated that he could not. Lorry then revealed that he met Darnay before aboard a ship. Darnay boarded a little after midnight, and Lorry was with Dr. Manette and his daughter. Lucy was called to the stand. She met Darnay on the same boat, and she said that she saw him with 2 other French gentlemen handling papers, but she could not identify which papers. She said she was taking care of her father, and that Darnay was kind and gentle enough to help take care of Dr. Manette. Darnay told her that he was involved in a difficult business in which he had to use a false name and travel back and forth from England to France. Dr. Manette was called to the stand. He said that he could not remember meeting Darnay on the boat, and that he spent several years imprisoned in France. As you may remember, I attempted to interview him previously. After another witness was called to the stand, who also said he only saw Darnay in a certain place, Stryver told the jury that Darnay was innocent, and that Barsad was a spy and Cly was his partner, and that the Manettes only had a small talk with him, proving nothing. Stryver's partner, Sidney Carton, a wretched-looking man who looked at the ceiling throughout the whole case, suddenly wrote a note and threw it at Stryver. Stryver then asked the last witness if Carton looked like the same man he claimed to see. Carton took off his wig, and then everybody could see that Carton looked identical to Darnay, and that the credibility of the witnesses had been ruined since they were all based on where they had seen Darnay. So it could have been Carton. Darnay was later acquitted. What a strange turn of events. Wait, what's this? Breaking news, folks. The proletariats have begun to storm the Bastille, and it's not looking good for the bourgeoisie. We have a reporter on the scene now.
Well, Jacobs, things here have really gotten out of hand. Today a massive mob of proletariats gathered here and begun to storm the Bastille. Here we are with a Mr. Jack, an eyewitness of the uprising.
Well, hello there.
So, what actually happens in the Bastille?
Well, dark things. Nobody really knows for sure. Few live to really speak of it.
So you're saying you don't really know?
Not at all, sir.
So, Mr. Jacks, can you tell me, then why are the proletariats doing this?
Well, you see, the Bastille is a symbol of power for the bourgeoisie, and they would imprison us just because they felt like it, or just because they didn't like us.
I see. So, what is being accomplished within the Bastille?
Well, you see, today is the day us proletariats we together will reap our revenge. We are doing justice. We are setting free those who have been wrongly accused from their torment and oppression in that dark abyss.
Well, thank you for that, Mr. Jack.
It's a pleasure, sir.
Well, that's all we have right now. Back to you, Jacobs.
Well, folks, there you have it. Looks like the Bastille can no longer be a sign of power and of intimidation for the bourgeoisie. Well, that's all for tonight, folks. Thanks for watching TEC News at 7.